What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're back in the garage again today, and I'm doing a full review on my Bonafide SS107 fishing kayak. Yeah, I did a quick little video last year, right when I got it, and gave just sort of an overview of what this kayak was and what it has to offer. But after being on it now for about a year and utilizing it a lot, I wanted to kind of go over some of the features. If you're looking to buy a kayak this year, or maybe you're thinking, I'd like to get into kayaking, I want to go over this kayak because this is the one that I've landed on. I've had several at this point, but this is the one that I've landed on. I'm not looking to change it. I'm not looking to upgrade or do anything different because I love this one. And so I want to go over some features, show you guys some stuff. Last year was crazy with all the COVID stuff. We've talked about that. Kayaks were flying off the shelves everywhere. Even like at Walmart. Like this year, I drove by Walmart here a couple weeks ago. They have a ton of kayaks outside stacked against the wall. And this isn't, we don't even live in a big fishing area. There's not a lot of water. You have to really look for fishing spots. But this year, they've got hundreds of kayaks because everybody last year wanted to go kayaking. 2 years ago, the kids were with grandma and grandpa. It was me and the wife, and we just got a wild hair. And I said, let's go to Walmart, spend 480 bucks, buy a couple kayaks, go out to this place I've been fishing from the bank and see what happens. And you know what? Like within 2 or 3 minutes, I caught a 3.5 pounder. That thing was like, I could feel it dragging the kayak through the water. Instantly, I was hooked. And so we started spending lots of evenings out on the water in the kayak. So after utilizing that kayak, that $240 kayak that I had from Walmart, for about 8 months to a year, something like that, I need something more comfortable, something that's more geared toward fishing and what I wanted to do. And so I ended up going to Cabela's. I used, with my discount from buying a boat from them and all the sales and everything, I spent roughly $500 on an Ascend 10T fishing kayak. And the whole thing was you could stand up on it. It had more room. It was just made for fishing more than it was just leisure. And so I quickly found out that standing on it, although advertised, was a lot more difficult than you would think. I didn't stand up on it a lot, although I did like the kayak. It was comfortable, it was bigger, and it fulfilled the purpose that I needed it to do. But even then, as I spent more time on the kayak, I knew I wanted something that I could stand up on comfortably and that would have all of the features that I needed. So I landed on this Bonafide kayak, and I'm gonna go through some of the features with it real quick. I did spend a lot more money on this one. This one I think was $1,800, but this was an investment that I knew that I was going to utilize for a long while. Now, when I say $1,800, I know they're out there, you can find them cheaper than that, but I had to pay, like at the time, I had to pay $250 to have it shipped and things like that. And so this particular kayak, this Bonafide SS107, what's unique about this one, this is the Bk-25. Bonafide has taken some of these different kayaks, they've given some of them themes. There's a Black Widow theme, there's this one of course, which is like this bomber style. It's got these old school bomber stickers on it. It's got these bombs right here on this little step pad, things like that. The stitching, the way that all of this is done, kind of fits that theme. It's very kind of army, military, and I really did like that. When I saw this kayak, that was something that intrigued me. I wanted something that not everybody was gonna have. I wanted mine to be different. I wanted mine to stick out. So we're just gonna start right up here on the very front of the kayak. First thing we see is this awesome handle. So love this handle. It's very solid. Gets a lot of use when you're dragging this thing through the ground or getting it in and out of the pickup. It gives you plenty of room for your fingers too. Some handles that I've seen, it's like molded into the plastic and they suck. You can't grab it. Awesome handle. This rubber part here, not only is this top ribbed area a guide for your rods when you lay your rods across here. It also doubles as a holder for your paddle. Let me show you. Okay, so here's my Bending Branches Angler Pro. This is probably gonna be the last paddle I'll ever buy until this thing breaks. Super lightweight, costs a little bit of money, but it is legit. This front strap, it just slides right in under there. So like when you're fishing, you catch a fish or you're messing with a fish or whatever, you can just pop this guy right in there and then it just sort of hangs. I just set it off to the side and then it's out of my way. I'm hands-free. I can mess with the fish or do whatever I need to do. Pretty slick little deal for sure. Okay, so then moving on down, we've got this little cover. You can take these little straps down, pop this guy up. You've got a ton of storage in the hole. I put rods in here. I've had like, I think 6 or 7 rods in here at one time. If you're transporting, it makes it easy. You can put your rods in here. You don't have to put them in the back of the pickup or in the back seat. It's really nice. This thing folds down and then it just latches back over. Okay, so that does open this way, but also if you come back here, you can undo this and it'll open this way. So if you want, you can put your rods in from this side. It makes it a little bit easier. I will say, one issue. I put this in my pickup. I always put the back in first so the front hangs out. I was cruising down the highway doing about 70 miles an hour. For whatever reason, these little guys came undone. The wind caught this and ripped it off. It ended up breaking this right here, this little joint or this hinge system. And so I had to call and get a new one. And so what I have done to help that is I put in these pad eyes right here, which I use a lot of times when I'm on the water. If I have a coat or something I want to strap down, I'll strap it down up here. But I put those pad eyes in, and then I've got these little bungees, and I just put them right across the front of this, and that helps this from getting caught by the wind and blowing off. I will say this though, even though that did break and that was a pain in the butt, I had to stop on the highway and literally go back and try to find it in this tall grass. I did get a hold of Bonafide, told them what happened, and they went ahead and sent out the new hinge piece for me like within a day. And I had it in 3 days, had it back on there. We were good to go. This is a big deal right here. Made in the USA. I love it. They are proud of it. I'm proud of it. They put it right here where you can see it. Pretty sweet. And then that takes us to this dry box, which is built in. This thing is awesome. You know, before I was always having to take one of these little Walmart piece of crap things. I'd put my phone in it, my keys. This is built on here, super deep. I mean, if you tip this thing over, water's probably gonna get in there, but just normal everyday use and fishing, there's no water getting in here. It's got these really nice latches on it. The other thing that's cool is it comes out. You can take this off. You can open it up if you want to access the water. You can take it completely out. One of the other cool things, it's made to hold a battery in the bottom, and you can actually mount a transducer right there. If you open this up, they've marked spots underneath where you can drill to put like your fish finder. So a lot of guys, they'll put a fish finder right here, and then like if you're traveling and you got to leave this outside, you can actually just pull the whole thing out to like put in your pickup or take it up to your hotel room or your camp or whatever you're doing. Pretty slick. Okay, so obviously we got these really nice foot pedals. You know, they slide real easy. They're totally adjustable. These rails came already in here. You know, you can put a GoPro mount or whatever. I've got a little tie down here that I use sometimes for my my little donkey leash or whatever. I did add in some more pad eyes because I feel like you always need them. I've got one here with my little braid cutters. I added the cup holder. There is a rack right here in the bottom, which is nice. It's got a rail system, so I can loosen this up and remove it. I can take it out. The coolest part is this rail, you can buy this tray. So on the 107, which is what this is, it does not come with this tray that goes under your seat. I think the 127 comes with it, so I had to order this after the fact. It might have been about $100, 80 bucks, something like that, but absolutely worth every penny. It's easy access. When I'm sitting in it, I can just pull this out and it's right there, whatever I need. This little knob, you can tighten that and it'll hold. These have these contoured, this is where you would place like the butt of your rod. So when you're laying your rods down because you got a paddle, you can lay them right here and they'll just follow. And they thought of a lot of cool stuff. So the tray is a must if you get this kayak. It's going to be aftermarket, of course, but it's worth every penny. It's got plenty of scuppers. I've got them blocked off right now just because I've been fishing in really cold water. Basically one of these rubber, kind of foam, hard foam golf balls. They work really well. On either side here, we've got either like a paddle holder, or I use it also on one side for my park and pole. It's my main anchor system that I use on this because I fish this in generally shallow water. But I can put that right on here and latch it down. I'm not worrying about it going anywhere. So this is a park and pole. This particular one is, I think it's 8 feet tall. So I've got all these scupper holes. This one I've actually taken out because that's the one I use the most. And what I do is I just take this park and pole and I just stick it right in the hole. I cannot do it in the garage because I'm hitting the ceiling. But if I was outside, you just run this through. You just push it down into that hole, and then you can drive that park and pole right into the ground underneath you, whether it's sand, mud, silt, and it'll hold you in place. So like when it's kind of breezy, this is what anchors you in one spot. Super convenient, I love it. Okay, so the seat, super comfortable. It breathes really well. It has like this mesh throughout that allows you to stay cool when it's really hot in the summer. It's got these straps on the side that you can pull to bring the seat forward if you need, like better back support to keep you upright, or you can loosen them to like lay back. It's got these locks on the front here. You can see these rails right here, they lock in, and what's cool is there's 3 different places that you can put this, so you can actually put your seat more forward or further back depending on where you want to sit in the kayak, which is really cool. The other thing that's neat, the legs extend so that you have a higher seat for fishing. You've got better visibility. So yeah, the seat system, the way that these things fold in and out, if you have it in the lower position, that's for like when you're traveling to your spot and you're moving through the water. But then once you get to your spot, it actually has a system built in to where you can stand up and raise your seat post up so that it puts you in that fishing position. And then when you're done, you can pull it and drop it back down. It's kind of cumbersome. The first time I tried it, I was like, what the heck is this? Why couldn't they make this easier? But once I watched a couple videos, guys actually going through it, mechanically, it works great. And just like any other thing like that, this takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it down, it's pretty sweet. You know, and the other thing that's super cool about the seat does just pop out. I love that. When I'm traveling, I don't leave the seat in it, I put it in my back seat. And so it's super lightweight. It pops in and out super easy. Okay, so again, we've got these pads that kind of help with the theme of the boat. These are like step pads, I guess, if you're stepping. Yeah, I don't use them very often, but they look sick. I like them. Super deep back end here. You got tie downs already built in. You can get a lot of gear in this sucker. This panel right here, I've never had a use for it, but you can remove this. This gets you inside the hole in the back end. So like if you want to mount a park and pole, like the automatic one, trolling motors, any other electronics, if you're running it through here, this just gives you access. And then on the back end right here, we've got the handle. It's very rugged, it's heavy, but it's like spring loaded. It's got this little deal that retracts it back so it's not hanging out all the time. It's just really nice and easy. If you wanted to set this up for a rudder, it's got pre-marked holes and you know, a little transom back here to mount all that. It's all built into the casting. I've added several pad eyes because I just feel like you can't have enough of those for tie downs if you want to hook an anchor to it or something like that. And then I added a couple more rails here in the back, and I use these for my rod holders. So I pull them out when I'm in like traveling, and then when I get to where I'm going, I just pop them in over the tops here. I got one on either side. This particular kayak does not have like casted rod holders like you see in a lot of them that are built in. So I added these in the back. Most guys that I've seen that fish out of these, they'll either have a crate with rod holders on them sticking out of the back, or they just use this rod system and lay them up here. But there's been plenty of times where I want this area clean and clear, so I'm not tripping over rods and things like that. So other than that, I haven't added anything additional to this kayak that I can think of. This kayak is 10'7". It's about 85 pounds. So it's easy for me to get it in and out of my pickup by myself. It's not too long. I've seen some of the others that I looked at were 12 foot or 13 foot. And that's one of the reasons I went with this. Was it's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit more compact. When I'm by myself, I can move it easily. I fish with some other guys that have bigger kayaks, and like when they're by themselves or when I'm with them and I'm watching them manipulate the weight and just the sheer length of the kayak, it wasn't for me. I didn't want to have to like really work that hard. Some of the bigger ones are hard to move around. This one is real easy. It moves through the water great. So yeah, that's one of the other things I want to talk about. Like I said before, one of the reasons why I went with something bigger, better, nicer was for stabilization. This kayak is very easy to stand up in if you need to relieve yourself, or if you want to fish from it in a standing position. The way that the bottom is built, it's got these two big like V's that run down either side of it, and then it kind of contours in the middle. It gives you like this really cool wide stance when you're on the water. So when you get up and stand up on it, it will go a long way. It's very forgiving before it would tip over. The smartest thing you can do when you get into a kayak for the first time, know what the limits of the kayak are. So the kayak is gonna get to a point, it's gonna move to the right or the left, like tipping to a certain point, but the tipping point is always gonna be the same. When it's ready to go over, it's gonna go over. So it's always a good idea, you know, get into a pool. If you have access to like a backyard pool, or even like a swimming area, somewhere that's relatively shallow, make sure you have on a life preserver or something. Get in the kayak and intentionally lean yourself until you find that it tips over. My experience on the kayaks I've had, it will go way further than I thought it would before it actually tips over and I fall out of the boat. And so on this one, you can get on top and you can move around and it won't tip over because it's so sturdy in the water. If you look online, I think you can find a video on YouTube. If you look up balancing a Bonafide kayak, there's a guy that stands up in his and he walks all the way to the nose of it, and he's standing with both feet on the nose of the kayak, and I think he's actually fishing, and the back end of the kayak is sticking out of the water like 2.5, 3 feet. That's how buoyant and like how stable it is. Now, it's like anything else though, that guy has a very strong core, he has very good balance, and he has hours and hours on standing on this kayak. If I were to try that, I would fall probably immediately. So, but the capability is built into the boat to be able to be that sturdy. The sun has finally come out. So that's it, guys. That's kind of the overview of the whole kayak. I'm not saying it's the greatest kayak out there. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's the sturdiest, because I haven't been on every kayak, but I do know that going through the progression of like Walmart kayak up to this kayak, this kayak is far nicer than any of the others I had. And so if you're looking for kayak, I'm hoping that this video, maybe you saw something here with this one that'll make the decision a little bit easier for you. I highly recommend it. I'm considering buying my wife one. She's still in a Pelican kayak, which was like a $250 to $300 price point kayak. But I'm looking at maybe getting her into one of these just because from a comfort standpoint, the seat and the room that you have and just usability, it's so much better. So hope this video helped. Thanks so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. And I will see you on the next adventure. So be blessed, and we'll see you on the water.